Hi, welcome to Surviving and Thriving as a New Elementary Counselor. Congratulations, first of all. This is such an exciting adventure, and I am so excited to have you a part of the elementary role group. My name is Samantha Howard, and I am the counselor at Wheeler Elementary. That is my email at the top. If you have any questions or want to connect, please write that down. I would love to connect with you. I started in December of 2018 at Wheeler, and I taught moderate and severe disabilities for 5 years before becoming an elementary counselor. So today, our session, we are going to go over some culture and climate tips, professional tips, tech and programming, look at some resources together, and then talk about you. I love this visual. It says, I'm your school counselor. I don't have a magic wand, a crystal ball, or all the answers, but I do have ears to listen, a heart to care, and time to give. I have ideas and an open mind. I am your school counselor. I am here for you. And I think these words are so powerful because sometimes we want that magic wand or that crystal ball, but remembering that we have those ears to listen and that we are there for our school and our staff and our students is really what they need. So what exactly does a school counselor do? I love this visual too. You're going to see lots of visuals that I've referenced today from different resources. But these are some of the components that a school counselor completes in an elementary school. So we look at data. We develop core curriculum. We're going to talk about that. We look at goals, small group, individual, crisis. We make referrals, and so much more. So that is just a little bit about what we do. We're going to watch a funny video. I think most of us have seen Jerry Brooks, a principal from Lexington, but this is just a little funny video of what you could expect on your first day in the cafeteria.
For those of you that have never had the experience of working kindergarten lunchroom duty on the first day of school, I'd like to share with you some of the things that I actually had to say today during kindergarten lunchroom duty so you'll get a feel for what it's like. Here goes. Get that out of your mouth. Get that out of your ear. Get that out of your nose. You better not have swallowed your tooth. Yes, I know I have a big belly. No, you cannot die from eating too many sweet peas. Why are you trying to drink 2 milks? Quit spinning in your seat. I don't have any butter in my pocket. No, those are not real diamond rings. Why is your shoe on your tray? Your teacher is not a werewolf. Yes, I will be scared if a Tyrannosaurus Rex came into the cafeteria. Your brother did not invent Skittles. I love puppies. I love kittens. I love donkeys. Yes, I think it would be fun to ride a giraffe. Yes, I'm very scared of loud noises. That's what kindergarten lunchroom duty is like. All right, come on.
He goes on to pretend to be a fill-in in the cafeteria for lunchroom duty, but just answering those funny questions that our curious students have might be a little bit of what your first day looks like, and there's some more of his funny videos at that link.
For those of you that have never had the experience of working kindergarten.
All right, so culture and climate. We are going to look at some ways that you can start off at your school, building that culture and climate within your school community. This quote at the top in the script font is actually a quote that my principal says a lot. So when you walk into a school, you should feel the counselor in every space. And I remember that when I look around Wheeler or when I go into a school, I want to see that the counselor can be felt in every space. So here are some ways that we can achieve that. First, learning names. This is so difficult, but It makes a difference. Building those relationships with your staff and your students and your families. So asking for last year's yearbook. Go through the yearbook. Try to start kind of recognizing names. Go on Infinite Campus. Look up students. There's lots of siblings, families, lots of connections. So learning those names, however is easiest for you. Being visible, this is huge. So our students, our staff, they want to see you. And so tie those shoes, open those Lunchables, walk those students to class, just being there so that they know you are a resource and that they can access you and who you are. Making sure that your info is updated on the website. That is always very important so that families or staff know exactly how to get in touch with you. And being flexible. I have learned so much. I came from high school now to elementary, that you are not going to have one day that looks the exact same as another. So just being so flexible every single day. Here are some images of ways that a counselor can be felt around a school building. So these are just some fun bulletin boards. I pulled the Purple Hand Pledge. This is a pledge that we follow at Wheeler with our students. Each day I lead it with students in the cafeteria, and teachers lead it in their classrooms. And this kind of promotes and advocates for safe living. And then these down here are the 7 habits of Leader in Me. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But that is the social and emotional programming at Wheeler. So these are just some ways that you could visibly share your counseling programming or different school-based, school-wide programs that are going on at your school. So some professional tips. First, you're going to want to sit down with your admin team and review your goals. You will create your annual goals. You're going to look at the ASCA model. You're going to want to talk about what you have in mind for your school and what needs there are. So you will conduct needs assessments with your staff, your students, your families, and here are some links of some examples of those. But you want to find out what's going on in your building and how you can best support with programming. Each week in JCPS, you are going to complete a data tracker. And so this is just a snippet of my data tracker from last year. And it's going to give you exactly how much time you're spending in each component of the ASCA model and your average direct service and your admin time. So that's super important each week. The data scorecard, this is a link to a resource on the JCPS webpage that I reference frequently. It's a great area to look at all of the data for your school in one spot. So it's going to break down free and reduced lunch. It's going to break down race dynamics. It's going to break down testing scores. So that is just a really good area to look at data for your school. Comprehensive School Improvement Survey. This is going to give you a feel of what's going on in your building. So how comfortable are students talking to the counselor? What are families feeling about the counseling program? So I definitely encourage you to check out that data to see how things are going. Some other professional tips: membership with professional organizations. Talk to other school counselors and see what they're a part of. The next slide, I'll show you some images of different professional organizations. Lean on your pod group. So you're going to be in a group of counselors and definitely lean on them for support. I would always reach out when I had questions and talk to different counselors at different schools because we know that each and every school is so different. But making sure that you are utilizing those resources, and then also keeping in contact with your new counselors. I always would kind of check in with them with questions because we were all kind of on the same level. This is a image of a worksheet that we received my first year, so I apologize if this info is not most current. Definitely the pricing could have changed, but these are some of the professional organizations available for counselors. I'm sure Dr. Searcy will share some of these resources with you all, but these are really great resources that you want to research and find what is best for you. But those are some of the opportunities available. Some more professional tips: publishing your calendar, making sure that it is accessible for your school, your families to access. So this is just screenshots from our NTI website for Wheeler. Families could go on there, they could see my calendar, they could see my office hours, they could submit a request to see me. So this is how students, family, or staff could submit a request. So some processes that you will want to consider are what your social emotional learning curriculum looks like at your school. I worked with Dr. Marks when I came to Wheeler to see what would be the best fit. I also did some surveys with the staff. We were currently using Second Steps when I came, and we have added in Leader in Me. So those are like the 7 habits of highly effective people. I know some schools use Everfi. There's many different curriculums out there and programs, but you want to kind of research and find what is currently being used and how to best support that programming. And your family resource coordinator is going to be a huge part of your team when you are looking at different processes and supports for your school. So some technology and programming tips. This is a link to my virtual calm room. This is a really neat resource for, especially during NTI, students were able to access resources to help calm them. So check that out. Make your own. They're super fun to make. I have a Google Voice phone number, so I'm not calling families off of my personal number. I know that some schools have a different program for their phone number, so you'll want to check into that. Twitter, making sure that you're sharing your good. I love to see other counselors in JCPS and all the good work that's going on. These are some of the handles for Dr. Searcy, our assistant superintendent, Dr. Averett, and then the hashtag JCPS School Counselor. And you can just look those up and look at some of the awesome things that are going on. I would love to see you on there. Facebook groups, Elementary School Counselor Exchange. There are a ton of resources on this page, so check that out. And then here are some Instagram and blogs that are very popular in the counselor resources. Here's a link to a newsletter that I shared weekly with my families and staff, and I would give families updates on what was going on with my programming, any upcoming info that they may need to be aware of, and resources that are available. NTI programming, this just kind of shows some of the resources that I used during NTI that were more virtual. So check those out and let me know if you all have any questions. Some groups that we have at Wheeler that I have currently led. So we have an advisory council, 7 students that help make decisions and lead the school. We have a student lighthouse team, and they are the leaders. So they help us look at upcoming events and things that they can be a part of. Girls self-esteem, so we had a She Became group that was led by a group of students at U of L. Minecraft, this is a video. I led a Minecraft group and our boys absolutely loved it. Best Buddies, this is for inclusion of individuals with special needs. Men of Quality, so looking at including the boys, and Safety Patrol, so giving our students leadership opportunities. So these are just some ideas when you're thinking about groups that you might lead at your school. So some supplies and programming, just some things that you can start to think about that you might want on hand in your office, that you're creating a calm and inviting environment. So maybe some fidgets, some books, coloring, some calm down visuals, timers. Those are super helpful. So check with your family resource coordinator, your PTA, your ECE staff, so that they can help build your environment for your students. So stakeholders, it takes a team. It most certainly does. So you will want to collaborate with your team. So that includes your mental health practitioner, your school psychologist, if you have 7 counties at your school, or any other mental health providers. I linked the memorandum of approved providers from last year, so that you can look at different mental health providers. Your family resource, you definitely just want to always be collaborating and creating a team effort that is best for the students. I meet with my team once every 2 weeks so that we can ensure that we are creating the best plans for our students. And then you will complete a spotlight on your programming for your advisory. So whether that's with your site SBDM at your school, your staff, your families, you're going to want to start sharing your data and your programming so that everyone is involved with your counseling program. And I like to forward each week the weekly data with my principal so that she's aware of where my time is being allotted each week. Some other programming, these are just some contacts if they haven't changed. Testing coordinator for the district is Erica Thompson. You're going to attend trainings with her if you are the building assessment coordinator. And then primary talent pool, gifted and talented, advanced programming. Jessie is going to be leading those trainings and any information there. But these are 2 areas that you might lead at your school. PBIS might be another area that you lead, so positive behavior interventions. This is a link to some videos that I created for our school on just expectations and what we expect at Wheeler. So those might be some of the different responsibilities that you work on with PBIS at your school. Counseling core instruction. This is where you're going to build your programming. This is what we love. We love going into the classroom, and we love to teach, right? And so these are some of the ideas for counseling core instruction that you could include when you start building your calendar for the year. You're going to want to use that needs assessment data to determine what is most needed in your classrooms. ECE, so Exceptional Child Education. This is a diagram. It talks about MTSS and how a counselor fits into that. So you will want to be heavily connected with your academic coach at your school and your psychologist, especially if you are the backup ARC chair or the 504 chairperson. MTSS has different tiers. This is where you're going to look at programming for students if they are in need of intervention, and it could potentially result in a referral for special education, but this also could include behavior interventions, and so looking at how you can reinforce at different tiers within your school. And then Kim Vinegar, she is the lead for 504, so she will lead those trainings. You will be in contact with your nurse. Sometimes they are a part of different meetings, and your psychologist. And then, of course, for ARCs, your implementation coach, ECE teachers, school psych, and nurse. So here are some different resources. These are developed through JCPS, and I know that Dr. Searcy will share current links, but I just wanted to give you an idea of what we have accessed. So we have a Google Classroom for elementary counselors. We have a helping hand document where Dr. Searcy puts everything in one spot, super handy. You can access all the meeting dates, any upcoming info that you might need, links. And then the file cabinet, this is a resource full of counseling core instruction lesson plans. And so this is fantastic. It gives us an outline of ideas for each month and lessons that are required. Here's just some strategies for calming students who are in stress. I think these are really good ideas. Of course, we all respond differently. I like to use this with my students. This is actually a part of the 7 habits. So working on being proactive versus reactive. So a lot of times kind of helping students switch the way that we think about things. Your school will be a part of trauma-informed care, and so encouraging our staff and ourselves to really think of behaviors with a trauma-informed lens. So I like to look at this resource. This one is fantastic. When we are tired, exhausted, frustrated, overwhelmed, it's easy for us to go to the words in red. But sometimes, with that trauma-informed lens, we have to remember what they really could be communicating over here. Here are some strategies for oppositional students. I love this one. Use interest, just finding what the student loves, and building that relationship is huge. We focus on this a lot with 7 Habits, so focusing on what you can control. And challenging those negative thoughts, so reframing. These are some really good de-escalating questions. There's going to be situations that you respond to, especially being a part of the admin team. So these are 4 questions we use at Wheeler when we are working through a situation. So what happened? Who was affected by what happened? If you could do it all over again, what would you change? And how can you make this better? So making sure that we're not answering or asking those closed-ended questions, that we want the student to really elaborate and discuss what is going on. So the end of today is we're going to talk about you, and this is so important. So go slow. It's not a race. If you don't go slow and stop and look around every once in a while, you will get burnt out and you won't see what you really need to get done. So go slow. And I love this visual. None of us want our phone battery to die. So remember, I apologize. We are dog sitting and the dogs decided to start barking like crazy. So remember that self-care is a priority, not a luxury. Remember that kids just want to be heard. So be that listener for them. It's okay to say, I'll find out and get back with you. We don't have all the answers. So remember, it's okay to say, I'll find out and I will get back with you. Remember to breathe and remind yourself throughout the day to take deep breaths. Don't feel like you have to play catch up. Pop your head into classrooms, introduce yourself to the staff, familiarize yourself with overall procedures first, and then work on your own when you feel comfortable. This is a little. So we are going to watch a video about my why.
My why is I want to be the counselor that kids need, the counselor that I didn't have growing up. And every single day I interact with students and I'm reminded of my why.
When I first knew that that was going to be the question, I felt like I had a rock star answer. And then as you think about it, you realize you have 100 answers because it's changing just like the profession's changing.
I believe that school counselors are in a unique position to remove systemic barriers for students and to be the advocate and the voice for students who may not have a voice otherwise.
My why is because I want to be able to be that person, to be that support, be able to help them to be the best they can be. And you watch them grow and you watch them learn and you watch the light bulbs go off. And I just think my why is every single one of those light bulbs. Being able to have students tell you some of the things that they've never told to people that they've been bottling up, and to be that safe space for them, to be able to help them with that, to be able to advocate for them and just create things for them it's moved me and changed my life for the better immensely.
They just teach me so much, and I just can't get away a day without getting a great laugh or crying with somebody or just learning something about life.
Being a school counselor has really opened my eyes to how I can be a better person.
The list is so astronomically long. My why could never possibly ever be accomplished because the why keeps evolving with the world. And what I wonder is like what my next why will be.
So as the school year goes on and we have responsibilities that build and the days become very stressful, I want you to remember your why and what is your purpose, and remember that the students need you every single day. So we can do this. We are all in this together, and we all support one another. So please reach out if you have questions or concerns. If I don't know the answer, I will try to point you in a good direction. But just know that you are meant to be where you are, and that door opened for a reason. So please reach out if I can be of support. If you have any questions, I am here. Thank you.